Well, the most powerful healing life force that's available to us for free is right before our eyes every day, and it's the sun. A lot of people don't recognize it because this force because it's taken for granted, and the problem is most people are indoors too far too often. Now, the sun actually is. I know a lot of people know about vitamin D. Yes, of course. Now, first off, I'll harp on that a little bit right now, but vitamin D originally was thought about as being a vitamin that, just healed the bones and helped with calcium production, calcium synthesis. But later on, it was found that vitamin D also vastly improves the immune system. Now, beyond that, though, vitamin D, and this is just one area about I'm going to be talking about with the sun and the healing benefits of the sun, because actually it promotes sexual healing too. Believe it or not, it's not. This is not a marketing game. I'm not telling you about the sun because I'm selling the sun. Maybe I'm selling a video, but the thing is, I'm going to tell you a few things that are not commonly known. But additionally to vitamin D helping with keeping strong bones, strong teeth, and also improving the immune system, it also gives instructions to cells that are not normal, like human cells that are not normal, like they're marginal. If they can repair themselves, it gives instructions to them to repair themselves. If they can't repair themselves, it gives instructions to those cells to destroy themselves. So in effect, it actually has anti-cancer properties. Now, that is going totally against the conventional wisdom that sun causes cancer. But too much sun causes cancer because it can damage the skin if you go too far. But a moderate amount of sun where it's not causing sunburn actually is extremely healthy for you. As a matter of fact, the American physician Dr. Keem used sunbathing and nutrition to cure his cancer patients. Now, where do you hear about that? You know the reason they don't do that today is because there's no money in it. It's typical with everything here. Everything has to be revolved around money, but you got to be aware of a lot of these alternative things that, because a lot of this alternative stuff can be snake oil. Be quite honest with you, that's really a lot of times it's greatly exaggerated, but do not underestimate the power of the sun. The other thing is sunlight lowers cholesterol. Sun converts high cholesterol in the blood into steroid hormones, and these hormones are used for reproduction. So, in other words, it actually helps your sexuality by being in the sun. Converts cholesterol to hormones. Now, that's just something where a lot of people don't realize that. But the other thing is it actually brings about a very bright attitude. In other words, well, you heard about seasonally affected disorder. Like, in other words, the acronym is SAD, seasonally affective disorder. A lot of times people get that in the wintertime from lack of sun. And you can buy like a special sun lamp that can help, prevent that from happening. But just the fact, but people that are also in offices a lot can be affected by the seasonally affected disorder. But beyond that, the sun actually has antidepressant effects. And a lot of people don't realize it. The sun will also lower blood pressure, can lower blood pressure. A lot of people don't realize that. Now, in other words, by helping lower the blood pressure, and can also help cleanse the blood. And see, the sunlight really actually gets beyond the skin itself. There's a cleansing effect. In other words, the capillaries near the skin are carrying. Now, it's not most of the blood is being cleansed by the sunlight, but then again, if you're out in the sun for maybe 45 minutes and most of your body's exposed to sunlight, that sunlight is actually cleansing the blood that's closest to the skin, because the sunlight is actually permeating the skin. And yes, that's not most of the blood supply. And yes, I do realize that the lymph system is several times bigger than your blood supply. The blood supply is not the entire body. But then again, your blood is being pumped throughout your whole body. And when it's passing by the areas near the skin surface and it's being exposed to the sunlight, the ultraviolet lights, it's actually cleansing that blood. The actual sun will actually increase the oxygen content in human blood. That again goes along with human sexuality and vibrance. More energy, the more oxygen in the blood, the better you feel, the higher your sex drive too, and like going along with converting cholesterol into hormones. Now a lot of people don't think of it this way, but it's well, it's a free thing. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to do this. That's the thing. But you know, the problem is where it costs something is whereby people don't have access to getting out in the sun because maybe their type of work they have, they're not outdoors enough, or maybe they live in a northern area of the country, and especially that would affect them more during the winter months because of the angle of the sun. It's not really You're not really getting the type of sunlight that is best for you. Now this picture I'm actually showing here, you're seeing this orange reddish hue. It's more like an orange hue. Those are like the longer wavelengths of the sunlight. Um, the sunlight actually contains a number of light spectrum. It looks to us like you don't really see light; you only see the reflection of light. But if you refract that light, you can actually tell that there's different hues within the actual particle of light itself. Now, there's another thing out there, and I know some people. I know a lot of conventional, um, all the conventional uh, doctors will tell you it's total freaking quackery. Chromolight therapy, healing with light, red light, blue light, green light, different types of lights will actually colors of light can actually affect the body. Likely there's some truth to that. I could tell you one little adjunct that really has nothing to do with healing, but tells you that there's something to do with the light color. That if they had like species of mice and hamsters, if they put them under a reddish pink light, the offspring would mainly be male. That's you'd think it would be female, but if they're the male and female parents were under the female was under a pinkish light, pinkish reddish light, the offspring would be male. If they're under a bluish light, the offspring would be female. Now that's been proven scientifically. It's not a well-known fact, but it is a fact. That's the thing. Now the other thing is sunlight actually builds the immune system, not just through vitamin D, but it also increases it. It actually causes the white blood cells to increase and the number of lymphocytes in the blood to increase, not just through vitamin D, but just through sun exposure. The other thing, it also has a very much a effect on the psyche. Now, I know in the ancient times, I wouldn't recommend doing this because I can't do it, but there was people that can actually stare at the sun. I can't do it. I don't want to try it because I know that's typically been known as being very bad for your eyes. But somehow there's ways to do this more like down at. It's not done at the high noon. It's done right at dusk or dawn, and there's a certain time you could do it, and it actually has to be practiced. I'm not going to recommend doing that, but also that's been known to actually help vastly improve the cognitive power of the mind and your awareness. It's been practiced in ancient cultures. Sometimes known today as sun worship, but it does. The sun actually does improve the psyche. There's no doubt about it. And it's not just light, because artificial light doesn't produce the same thing. It's got to be true sunlight. Artificial light is actually pretty bad for you, to tell you the truth. Um, the other thing is the sun is something whereby people have ignored this. It's like people see it every day. They don't really think about it. And the other thing is the sunlight, like I said, can cure. And said this indirectly, that the sunlight can actually cure depression. Now, something else too. The sunlight can actually energize the body because the skin can absorb, I think I forgot what the actual specification is, but quite a bit of energy per cubic square footage of skin exposed. The human body can absorb quite a bit of energy, and by absorbing this energy, that is really how it's going along with it, helping increase the oxygen uptake of your body. In other words, you can exercise and do it that way, and you can also lay in the sun, not to actually replace exercise, but you probably wouldn't need to exercise as much to get about the same health benefits by actually being in the sun and exposing a good part of your body. Now, here being it's summer, probably this is really a more pertinent video because it doesn't matter if you're up north or down south. The angle of the sun is actually going to be acute enough to give you the benefits that I'm talking about. And again, just to kind of summarize, well, the sunlight can cure depression. It can absolutely build up the immune system, not just through vitamin D production, but through direct white blood cell production. It increases the oxygen content of the human blood, and also it can help cleanse the blood and the blood vessels, which also helps with arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. That can be very vastly improved with sun exposure. It can help lower your blood pressure. It can help lower cholesterol and take that cholesterol and convert it to sex hormones. I mean, everybody's going to jump out in the sun right now because if, the thing is, the problem is your doctors. Nobody's really, well, I don't know if every doctor's not saying this, but most doctors, I guess, recommend some sunlight. But some doctors say no sunlight at all. But there's other doctors out there that'll tell you that the sunlight actually is one of the most helpful things you can do. Just don't do it to excess. If you do it to so much excess that you have severe sunburns, yes, you're going to have problems. But, you just have to go beyond, less than that. The other thing is it's also beneficial to fighting skin disorders. The sun itself will cleanse the skin. Now, one thing I'm going to recommend, and it also kills bad bacteria, bad viruses, and things even beneath the surface of the skin in the blood that's flowing near the surface of the skin. Now, one thing I'm going to recommend to you people that are into sun worship, and probably easy to remember when you're looking at this picture of the sailboat with almost like the orangish sky, take a lot of vitamin C. Vitamin C has been known to heal and regenerate and rebuild, and especially collagen, and it's extremely good for the skin from the inside out and also from the outside in too. Actually, there's vitamin C creams as something that's very helpful for the skin. But if you're outside in the skin, you actually are doing. See, there is a little bit of a trade-off. You're getting a lot more benefits from the sun than you're doing damage. But if you stay out in the sun too long, you actually start doing more damage than you are doing good. So there's a happy medium between everything. But if you're worried about the damage that it causes to your skin, now I take a real lot of vitamin C. I take several thousand milligrams of liposomol vitamin C plus sometimes 30,000 or 28,000, 28 to 30,000 oral vitamin C every single day. Now that's an extreme amount, but probably you'd be best to even just do like what Dr. Linus Pauling recommended. He's the two-time Nobel Peace Prize winner. Take at least a few thousand milligrams of vitamin C daily. This will greatly help protect your skin. It's not the only thing you can do, but it's the simplest and it's the most bang for the buck. In other words, what you're spending and what you're getting out of it. So, but what does it cost you to be in the sun? Well, what it really costs you is time. And a lot of times people don't have time for that. I'm guilty of that too. And even 10 minutes can be a big difference. So, problem is being disciplined enough to even have that 10 minutes. It could be during lunchtime, even if you're at work and you can get outside and have lunch outside in the sun. That can help. I know one thing I used to like to do all the time when I was traveling a lot. I was doing 50,000 miles a year traveling, driving. I had my convertible, put the top down, and I got some sun that way. And tell you the truth, that made me feel a hell of a lot better. As a matter of fact, all that driving, it helped me feel a lot better. I don't know what the deal is being out in the open out, in the, to help the traffic jams feel like they weren't so bad. And I guess that has a lot to do with it being in the sun and depression and all that. You don't feel like you're so affected by, all the garbage that goes on with traffic jams. If you can put the roof down on the car or have a car with a sun roof. Now, it's even better to have a convertible. Now, that's just my personal thing, okay? So, but I've kind of always been into this stuff. Um, and I can tell you that it's not well known because, who the hell, if it could cure things, it really does. It does cure things. Back in the day, even when um, they used to have in the 1920s when they first discovered vitamin D, and actually that was vitamin D2 back then. It was the plant-based. But they used to have what they used to call solariums. They used to put people out in the sun to help heal pretty much anything there was, no matter what they had. They used to put people out in the sun. Now today, what do they do in hospitals? They keep them inside a room. They don't even have like a special type of sun lamp in there that can give them some kind of healing rays or nothing. They don't even have that. Actually, they cut out all their vitamins and they put them in a room, and there's people in there with a lot of germs, and hospitals kill people pretty much. Back in the 1920s, they were doing quite well with the solariums. It's just like they used to take the patients and they put them out in the sun for an hour or so, and they'd be bathing in the sun. It just does too much that you just can't explain. Let me put it this way: I don't think science knows every damn thing that the sun actually does today. They know about the vitamin D. They know about increasing the oxygen. They know about it helping with skin disorders. They even know from way back that it used to help fight cancer. It helps lower cholesterol. It helps increase your sex hormones. It helps alleviate depression. It helps lower blood pressure. Yeah, I mean, they know all this stuff, but there's probably more that it even does. What are they all telling you today? Don't go out in the sun. It's bad for you, right? But then, obviously there's a happy medium. Too much of anything is no good. If you stay out in the sun long enough to burn like a crispy fry, well, obviously that's no good. So, anyway, I just want to put this out, and it's a little common sense, but it's a little bit beyond what you really know about, what sunlight does. It's not just vitamin D production. And I probably did say a little bit more about what vitamin D does. It does more than just bones and teeth health. It's the immune system. It actually helps repair every cell in the body. There's vitamin D receptors in every single cell of the body that can help repair the body cells. And if the body cell is so far gone that it can't be repaired, like a malignant cancerous cell, the vitamin D will give it instructions to destroy itself. But it's far beyond that. And what I said here, I know that's a short list. Actually, I think the sun is something that it's actually energy itself. And exposed skin absorbs that energy. And remember, the body is what you would call the body electric. As Dr. Robert Otto Becker wrote the book, The Body Electric. The body is every cell has a vibrational frequency. Every cell is like a mini battery. Every cell is slightly alkaline. Every healthy cell has a half a volt negative, like a little mini battery. The sun is actually absorbing, the body absorbs energy from the sun itself. That's something else like that they're yet to discover exactly what it does, what the connection is. I personally think that actually the sunlight, besides all the things we know about it, is actually helping bring up the vibrational frequency of the cells and charging the batteries of the cells, if you will, to bring the voltage into par with what a normal healthy cell is. Just like with an athlete, a trained athlete, actually a trained athlete might have, it might be beyond the 0.5 volts per cell in a highly trained athlete. 0.5 volts, half a volt negative, is a healthy living cell. And as the cell dies, it goes down to like a third of a volt, quarter of a volt to zero, and then the cell dies, and the frequency goes down. Now, the sunlight likely is helping charge the batteries because these we do know that the body does absorb a certain amount of wattage per um, square foot of skin. I forgot exactly what that was. I looked that up before. I'm assuming that it's actually helping to bring up the frequency of the cells to normal and bring the voltage to normal too. That I don't know, but it makes common sense if you want to put it that way. If you want to criticize me for saying that, fine. I don't know for sure, but it does make common sense. Actually, vibrational frequency of the cells, the alkalinity of the cell, and the electrical charge of the cell, the healthy electrical charge, which is like every cell, human cell is like a little battery. Those are all interrelated. As the electrical charge goes towards zero, the vibrational frequency of the cell starts slowing down. They're all interrelated. The sun likely is charging up your batteries too, besides. And but you can only do so much of it because it's it's like it's like there is the damaging portion of the sun's rays. But there are as many aspects of the sun, and I think every single one of the when you're looking at when you're not actually seeing a particle of light, but what you're actually getting is the full light spectrum, the full chakra, everything that's coming through. The red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the the blue, the indigo, and the purple. All the chakra elements, the full chromotherapy all at once. It's probably doing a hell of a lot more than you think. And maybe 50 years from now, people will discover, oh yeah, people should have been doing this. They were so archaic back in 2016 or 2020 that they never did these things. And some years from now, maybe they'll know. But why wait? Why wait? Obviously, people even in the 1920s realized that the sunlight was used to heal every ailment there was, as long as you didn't do too much of it. They used to do this commonly. But then the pharmaceutical industry started to really take root in the 1930s, and that went by the wayside because it's not as profitable. So, and probably the sun is something whereby it can heal a lot of psychiatric disorders like depression and things like that, far beyond what you think, and that would put a lot of other people out of business too. So, what's how many times have few people feel stressed and anxious, and they go to the beach and they're looking at a sunset and a sailboat across a glimmering sea with the nice, refreshing breezes off the ocean, and maybe they had all these problems in the background that were bothering them over the week, and they become totally distressed. They're no longer depressed. They're no longer anxious. And it didn't take a funny little pill to dull those sentiments. It just took some natural sunlight, natural sea, and waves and winds, right? That's all it took, right? But obviously that's not very profitable for some people too, right? So, I don't know. It's like the more I put these things out, the more I get attacked. But what? I'm putting them out anyway. What can I tell you? So, the truth be known, and the truth is mighty, and the truth will prevail.